Hello and welcome to Inside Spurs with talkSPORT Bet. talkSPORT's very own dedicated Spurs show where we talk all things Spurs. It's me, Majestic, once again, and joined by our favourite of the show, of course, from Sonny Talks Spurs. Sonny Snelling joins me. How are we, Sonny?
Yes, I'm very good, Maj. How are you?
Yeah, it's been a strange week in the world of all things Spurs. A win, a loss. It's a fan base divided everywhere I go. Getting pelters online for saying certain things, getting pelters for not saying others. It's been an interesting week. But of course, we're coming off the back of that defeat last night against Newcastle United at St James's Park, 2-0 out the Carabao Cup. How are you feeling about being dumped out of the Cup?
You know what? We won our trophy last year, Maj, didn't we? And that was the glory of Bilbao. You got to get that in early. I said that on my YouTube video last night. But yeah, I mean, you say about a fan base divided. All you have to go is into my comment section and see one fan says one thing, another fan says another, and it just keeps sort of. It's a weird atmosphere at the moment because at the end of the day, I know we've been knocked out of the cup, and it's all oh, here we go again. Spurs back to being Spurs, but we're still third in the Premier League after a good victory against Everton at the weekend. We're still undefeated in the Champions League. I know we sit 15th, but we've seen how this format can be. PSG finished mid-table in that league phase last year, and they went on to win the bloody thing. So it's one of those things at the moment where I still look at it. Thomas Frank has a lot to do. He knows he has a lot to do, and there's still those moments where, and it is Spursy, some of the players making mistakes last night, and the whole Spence corner situation, which I'm sure we're going to get into. But it's one of those things where I thought it was an okay performance. I think our chance creation was a little bit better. Some of the positions and the passing we were getting into. And bear in mind, I still look at the state of the Tottenham squad at the moment. I still think there's some players not good enough. There's still a lot of players to come good, but we're still missing a lot of people. Solanke, Maddison, Kulusevski, Udogie. I feel like a lot of these players are key to what Tottenham need to do and what Thomas Frank wants to achieve at this football club under his tenureship. So at the moment, I'm not going to go in on Thomas Frank. I'm not going to go in on, I'm going to contradict myself in there. I was going to say I'm not going to go in on any players, but there's a couple of players I'm going to go in on today. But at the moment, I'm a half glass full, I'd say, instead of empty. I don't know about yourself.
Well, we talk about contradictions, and we're going to have to go from the bat here because we have been absolutely giving Vicario pelters for weeks.
You have. Yeah? I haven't. I haven't said anything. I wasn't on that week.
Is that your receipt, Sonny? Is that your receipt?
I criticised him when we first signed him, and I did my apology video the first couple of weeks after we'd signed him. So, but you could take the floor.
Yeah, well, I'll take the floor on this one because I definitely have absolutely battered him for the last couple of weeks, and he's the last two games, Everton. Some unbelievable stops. Of course, the game in the Champions League, he was phenomenal. And wow, last night he doesn't get the start. We put Kinski in there. And really and truly, that man loses us the game. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say that the goalkeeper cost Spurs the game last night. Is that fair to say?
I feel like you can still tell he's a young, naive goalkeeper. I think his passing is great. Like some of his long balls were fantastic and picking out people on the left and right hand side. And I'd say that's where Vicario is lacking. There were moments in the Villa game, especially where he was divvying on the ball and didn't know what to do. And especially with Spurs, the way we take goal kicks, sometimes Van der Ven or Danso will take them and then pass it to Vicario, who then divvies on the ball. It's a bit of a strange situation. But yeah, I feel like from the corner, Kinski could have done better. And from the second goal that Voltemars scores, there's that, you can tell it's a young goalkeeper because there's that communication. Like he should be saying to Danso, the old-fashioned, leave it, come and claim it. And then Danso doesn't know where he's coming or going. I think he also was a bit at fault. And I don't like to criticise Danso because he's been quite good as of late coming in for Romero. But
if I'm Kevin Danso right now, I'm annoyed at you for bringing my name up.
Yeah.
that's not my fault. I've got a keeper coming out to no man's land.
Yeah, I feel like there is that communication from both parties. That, in a back line, one should take control of that situation, and he is probably the goalkeeper in that remit. I mean, I feel like in the previous round, I know it's Doncaster. He made a really good save at a vital moment. Kinski, I always give him a bit of a benefit of the doubt because he came into a situation. He was proper chucked in at the deep end in January. After injuries to Vicario and Forster and Brandon Austin, not being a proper starter. He started off really well in his debut against Liverpool in this same competition. And then since then, it's like he
Gone
had some
downhill.
bad. Yeah, it's gone a bit downhill, and I hope that a manager like Thomas Frank can give him some game time. Hopefully, he gets a few more here and there in the competitions, and we keep his confidence up. But yeah, there's a lot for him to learn. But I'm going to let him off because he's young.
But then you just look at the flip side to it. You look at Newcastle, Ramsdale in goal, a couple of really good saves, assured performance from him as the number 2 at Newcastle at the moment. That just shows Eddie Howe's 4-year project where that is at the moment and where we are in the infancy of the Thomas Frank project. I don't think that Vicario and Kinsley as a 1 and 2 is going to be the way forward. For sure, Vicario's been showing his class lately. And as I say, I've got to put my public apology out. I missed Vicario last night. I can't believe I'm saying it. But, he's been that good at the last 2 games. And, you look at the rest of the game and you think about it, without Romero, without Van der Ven, Adogi, etc., I don't think Newcastle, they definitely had the dominance of the game, especially the first sort of 35 minutes. But when we grew into the game, I actually found myself enjoying some of our football the most I've enjoyed it this season, ironically. And I do think that, the having Sarr in there, and I think Bergvall was phenomenal again yesterday. And Polina, wow, that guy can play centre-half. That guy can play anywhere.
Yeah, it came to a moment in that game where I was thinking, why isn't he in the middle of the park? Because that's where we need. He went on a little bit of a wily run on the right wing and was looking like one of our most creative threats from centre back yesterday. I just think there's a lot of good promise from certain individuals, and I will use the Aston Villa game because I feel like that's a lot of where Spurs fans are like pinning this is the worst of a Thomas Frank side, because it was a lot of, I don't know if you've seen the pass maps, it was a lot of sideways and backwards and that sort of stuff. But yesterday it was a bit more forward thinking and midfielders getting in the right areas, and that is probably because we had the likes of Bergvall in there and Sarr as well. I don't think Sarr had his best game in a Spurs shirt yesterday, but I think they're more willing to be the runners and show some legs. So we have got a lot of options in midfield, and it is good to see. And you just know that I don't blame Thomas Frank for going with the system he went yesterday, because Newcastle, the energy they go at is crazy. They're going like the clappers, the way they're out the traps and pressing you. And I think we handled that side of it quite well, especially with, the way that the commentary was last night on Sky. They were saying a much changed Newcastle side, but they still had Harvey Barnes, Voltemard, a strong midfield of Tonali, who was absolutely phenomenal, by the way. He was incredible. So there wasn't I feel like it's one of those games where this is going to sound awful, but it's probably one of the better games up in Newcastle, because when you look at how we've been in the last couple of years on Tyneside, it's been an absolute horror show. Oh
yeah, definitely. We'll have to start. Of course, you mentioned the Jed Spence situation with the corner. What did you make of it? So Jed Spence gone down. He's able to take his shoe off at that one moment, isn't he? And he's put his shoe back on. He's doing it. He lays his back up. For me, as soon as he's turned his back, that's the mess up from him. The ref ain't gonna just let you get into position. You've been down on the floor long enough.
Yeah.
Now you're in the game. As soon as you're in the game, mate, for me, jog backwards. Why are you doing jogging? You're doing jogging backwards on the training field.
Yeah.
Jog back.
It was just poor in the sense of, if you're in that situation, and don't get me wrong, Newcastle players tackled him fairly and the shoes come off, so it is almost a moment where you're like, well, get it sorted. And the problem is with the way people have spoken about us, and not time wasting, but taking time over our throw-ins, people could have seen it as a bit like that. But my issue comes with more the players in the middle. It's also on them to pick up that extra man. It's a team effort of right, he's out of position. Who's picking up Fabian Schär? No one. And then that's how the goal is conceded in the end. It is just a bit, I don't sit there, and I'm not sitting there annoyed at, the referee, because he's refereed that perfectly. If anything, he should have told him to go to the sideline and do his shoelace up there, or get a better pair of boots on, because it is a bit of one of those things where it is just arguing.
Why should I give you 3 minutes to tie your laces up?
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous, especially at that time of the game as well, when they didn't even have that much added time on, and he was down for about 40 seconds sorting his laces out. So you can tell I think the referee had a stinker all round. The Kolo Muani dribble where he's dribbling through the middle of the park and it comes off the referee's heel, sort of summed up his performance. So, but that was the one thing where I was like, maybe he's he was onto something. You've given him the benefit of the doubt. It's on Jed Spence to turn and face. Literally, rule one in defence: turn and face. You know the corners coming in. We're meant to be getting better at corners, but that was just a lapse of judgment from most of that Spurs back line.
Speaking of the back line, we've got to talk about the front line because, ironically, apart from the mistake from Kinski there and, the whole Jed Spence situation, I don't like when Newcastle had a lot of attacking options in the first half, especially. I felt we dealt with them, and I do feel like when I'm watching Spurs in defence, I feel quite assured. Like, I'm like, okay, yeah, cool, you've got the ball, you're coming at us, you're going to keep coming. The personnel we've got there, I think, have been brilliant. I think Danso's been a revelation in the last few games. I think he's been superb, comfortable on the ball, wins everything in the air. Looks like he's talking to his fellow teammates. So it's weird to lose 2-0 and think, I'm not looking at the defence. I'm looking at the keeper for sure. But I'm looking at the defence as a problem. But we lose 2-0. And there's a reason why I got a picture of a beautiful man here called Harry Kane. Just a reminder of what we had. And again, the fact that Sonny, mate, it's looking, every game that goes by, selling Son for however much we sold him for, 15 million or whatever it was the dumbest move. Like, you sit there, and I've said it on previous shows, with him gone and Maddison injured and Kulusevski injured, you're missing 60 goal contributions there. I think they worked it out, some of the statisticians on Twitter. But it's just that striker is where it's at the moment, and I was saying this off camera to our producer Kev, and I think it should be live by the time this video goes out as well. I've done a short on Richarlison, and literally one of my biggest rants about a player, because in a Thomas Frank system, in a Thomas Frank team, you're not going to have as many chances. But when you do have a chance, you've got to score. They're going to be clear-cut opportunities. And last night there was 2 chances in that first half where we moved it around perfectly from back to front. And who's on the end of it? Richie. And I'll be honest, I think I was a bit blindsided by it. Not on the end of it.
I mean, yeah, that's the perfect way to sum it up, because at the beginning of the season, against Burnley and Manchester City, he had 2 really strong games. And also, I'll include PSG in the Super Cup in there because he was all right then. But recently, I just don't know if his confidence has gone down again. But do you know what?
I don't want to hear about confidence from a man that's got a tattoo of himself on his own back with Neymar and Ronaldo. That is also a confident lad.
Why has he got a tattoo of Neymar and Ronaldo? Because they're in a different stratosphere to him. Like, if he thinks he's anything like that, there's a thing at the moment, I see it as a meme, it's called fake Brazilians. Like, there's a lot of Brazilian footballers out there who are not living up to that Brazilian samba legacy. And he's in there, him and Martinelli. I don't know how they're,
that's unfair on Martinelli.
I just don't know how they're even in the, being called up to that Carlo Ancelotti's Brazil side ahead of a World Cup. Because the thing is, I think I could get in better positions than him. Like, I know that the ball's coming across the goal, to not run ahead of it or, behind it. It's just really, I just don't understand his decision making. And when we've had, and I know it's a small sample size and we've not been able to see what his full powers could be, but I've seen more from Kolo Muani in a couple of games. I think he offers a lot more. He's more powerful, pacey, good with the ball at his feet. Just even his shot selection. Like, there was a moment where he's through on goal, he slows it down, he then goes for this ambitious shot, and you think, just go across goal with it, but it goes straight near post, and the defender blocks it, and you're like, what is the thought process there? And then Solanke's injured, which I think he would be great in this system. But then you look at the bench and you go, right, take Richarlison off, and who's coming on? Matisse Tell. And it's hardly going to fill you with much hope that he's going to come on and bang a goal in. Because as soon as it went 2-0, you're like, well, this game's pretty much over. We've not got any firepower. Kudos came on late.
Ladies and gentlemen, Matisse Tell.
I know. It's just, I'm just really done with Richarlison at this club. I feel he needs to depart. He's got to go.
You know what? He gave us another false dawn, didn't he, at the start of the season, like you said, those few games. And we're all turning around to each other. It's a World Cup, yeah? He wants to look good for Brazil. Oh, my goodness. He's here. He's doing bicycle kicks. He's doing all sorts. Mate, listen, the Everton fans are yearning for him. Sell him to them, 50 mil. I love it all day long. They'll take him, 50 mil.
I think I'd rather have Beto after he...
Mate, that's not a joke, though. He gets into better positions. I just think in terms of, like you said, those runs, the timing of the runs, how are you in front of the ball? How are you in front of the run? Like, you time your run, didn't you? You wait and then you go. Like it's just I don't care. You can like him for cult reasons, you know, for the pigeon, and he's some people might think he's a bit of a housery, but you know what? There he is.
Yeah, and all you got to look at
breaking
is
more records in the Bundesliga, and
don't.
And we got rid of the other one, Son. So we have a gaping hole at the top of that field.
Yeah, and all you got to look at is Bournemouth. You got to look at Bournemouth as a case study. We went to them. We paid 65 million for Solanke, who I think had a good season last year despite injury. He's injured again. And what did they do? They went out and bought Evan Nilsson, who looks like a great player and a perfect replacement. And then they've got a signing in the summer in Ellie Junior Krupi, who's come in and absolutely they've unearthed another gem. So you've got clubs operating like that, and yet we're scraping the barrel, not knowing who's going to be leading our line. I think Kolo Muani can come good. I hope Dominic Solanke can return from injury. But at the moment, when you're looking for that sort of killer instinct in front of goal, we haven't got that because you're relying on our wingers to then get the goals. Xavi Simons is low on confidence at the moment and is not even creating chances. I even had a conversation with a Spurs fan in the office today, and he said Richarlison didn't get any service, and I was like, were we watching the wrong game? Because I just can't get my head around how you.
There was the one who threw on goal. It was like he was running towards the goal on the right side, and he shoots, it just hits the player's leg.
Yeah, that's the one I was meant earlier.
So uninspiring, isn't it? Like whereas before, you had a Son or a Kane who, in that situation, one-on-one with someone, they do a little slight feint of the body, cut back inside, and boom, top bins. We haven't got that at the moment, and we haven't got a player that does that for Spurs right now. We are lacking the player that gets you off your seat. We are lacking that big time, and that is why I think so many people are so frustrated. As you said from the bounce. What we're doing right now with Frank, I think it's good. I think it's a slow build. It's a process. He's came in to shore up that defense. Defense, regardless of the result last night, looks a lot more assured. We are starting to build a team spirit as well. Like that victory against Everton away from home was a big win, 3-0. And you can see what it meant to the players. Van der Ven getting on the score sheet, etc. I just think it's gonna take time, and I think patience is required. But it's, as I said, it becomes frustrating when players ain't doing the basics.
I mean, it just really. Last night, that's what I thought was lacking: a lot of fight, a lot of determination, a lot of grit. And
my dad
Newcastle
used the word
had
desire.
That. Yeah,
desire. My dad said there's no desire in this team.
It's like we were all right to just go out and just not give it our all. And after what we saw from this team, in May in Bilbao, it was just a bit disappointing. I mean, don't get me wrong, maybe, the Carabao Cup, do they want to win it? But at the end of the day, you've only got a couple more games and you're at Wembley. And this year, I mean, there's a few teams in it that look strong. There's a few teams in it that look beatable. So it's there to, it's there to get. It's just, at the moment, what my worry is our top goal scorers at the moment are Van der Ven, own goals, and Polinia. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, good to spread the goals around, but you still need a player there getting at least 10 to 15 in a striker position. And at the moment, we haven't got that.
We've gone from one extreme to the other. Last season, we were banging in goals for fun. Like, we're at the top end of goals scored, and we had no defence. Now we've got a decent defence, but we can't, nothing up top. And the thing about that for me is, this is when there's time to be a little bit brave, because I'm looking at some of these young lads in the youth team, the academy players coming through. I'm reading about them on a daily basis. I'm seeing the goals they're scoring. Fearless. I'm like, is it worth giving them a go?
I'd rather see Dane Scarlett than Richarlison. And I'd rather see Luca Williams-Barnett given a couple of minutes here and there. Because I know he's 16. I know he's playing for the under-21s. I did a video on him on my own channel. And he is just absolutely fearless. And, he might make a mistake here and there. And even some people listening to this might think, Sonny, you're being a bit too ambitious. But I think he's got all the potential to really... at the moment, Xavi Simons is our only creator. And the other two are injured. So it's worth giving some of these players a go, because what we got to lose at this stage, it's just worth a go, because we can't keep going with the same thing. And as I said to you, I'm glad we've fixed our defence, maybe at the moment to the detriment of our attack, because we needed to. Our defence last year was abysmal. But there is still those moments where we just need a killer in front of goal. And at the moment, a lot of the usual suspects are not, up to that level.
Well, as you said before, the thing is the usual suspects are not on the field. Madders, Solanke, Kulusevski, Son is another club. And I think for me, it's going to be about treading water until January. And we have to go again in the January market. And the thing is, like with the Tales and Richarlisons, etc., we've got to accept that it's not going to happen with these lads. Richarlison, like as I said, Xavi Simons, I can see there's bits and pieces there. That's a confidence thing, but I think there's a baller there. We all know that. We was excited about him. So he's got time on his side. First season in the Premier League, plenty of time. Richarlison is a Premier League player. He's played there for years. Too injured for me. Right, he's always stop-start. When he gets a little bit of form, he's then injured. We've given him a go. Mate, he was playing with Harry Kane. He played with Harry Kane under Conte. Like, you've been there long enough now. And like I said, I'm looking at that team and bar Polinia and a couple of us. Like, isn't it funny? Kudus comes on last night. Kudus was the person that came on and had a bit of desire, a bit of grit. He's getting into the face of the Newcastle players. And I just feel like then you look at, we ain't even mentioned Brendan Johnson yet, mate. Brendan Johnson, like we was waxing, not lyrical about him, but we were giving him a little bit of a pump the other week saying that we should, I wouldn't mind to see him through the centre, which I still stand by. Before I'm done with him, please just let me see him like in the centre because he can't be any worse than Richarlison, right? But yesterday on that right-hand side again, that ball where he literally just kicked it into
and he's asking for it. He's literally going, give it, and then just kicks it out. I'm just like, Brennan, I love you. You won us that trophy, but I nearly saw there. I was just like, it's just like, what is going on?
Even my mate Gazza, who I do the same on Spurs podcast with, he's retracted the Johnson goal. It wasn't even his goal anyway. It was an own goal.
Sure. Luke Shaw statue outside. That's what
he's like, no, he don't get it. He doesn't get it. So yeah, listen. It's one of those things. The games are coming thick and fast.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the Chelsea game because, again, a bit like Newcastle did play on the front foot yesterday at St James's Park, which allowed us space in behind. And if we can manipulate and utilise that space and take our chances, then it creates a bit of an open game. I think playing Chelsea at the weekend is better than playing a low block side. That's
what I mean. Like everyone's looking at this run and calling it the horror run, but I'm like, these are sides that Thomas Frank football works against. And my question to you, Madge, would be, what would you start? Like, who you starting up top? What sort of, are you going Pellegrini and Bentancur? Are you going full defensive mode?
So it's a great shout. I think, again, we're at home. We've all complained about that situation with Bentancur. I'd personally drop Bentancur for the next game. I thought he was pretty non-existent in the Newcastle game last night. I'd like to go and put Moani up top, Richarlison. You showed us in the week that, nah. But again, because we've got Champions League football coming as well, does he use Tell in some aspect? Because he's going to be looking at it and going, well, I've got to play him because I know he's not in the squad. So it's really difficult to look at what he's going to do and which way he's going to go. But all I know is Richarlison for 90 minutes up the top against Chelsea is going to be uninspiring. I want to see Moani, as we mentioned. I'd like to see, because I was just speaking to a friend of mine off air, and he was like, he's not having him. He says he's used this as well. I see glimpses of him. I see that run yesterday. I see strength. I see the
I think he was great against Everton. But he's great against Everton.
Yeah, he really was. And again, I think once Xavi and him have a bit of a rapport with one another, I think we're going to really see that blossom. So I'd like to see that. Van der Ven obviously to come back in. Don't rush Romero. I think Danso can do the job. If Romero's fit, then cool, we could get him in. But I don't think Danso's an issue. Like I said, it's going to be all about that midfield, how we play that, and how we try and dominate the game against Chelsea. And especially being at home, if we try and sit back and soak it up and all that, that crowd are going to get behind, not going to get behind them. And the first 10, 15 minutes will become toxic.
Yeah, I'd go with, because we've got obviously Copenhagen in the week for Champions League, and they're like 32nd in the tables and they haven't won a game yet.
They're not doing great, and it's at home.
Yeah, so maybe that's the game for Tell. Whereas this, I'd be going like back
But,
for the
but Tell can't play in the Champions League, can he?
Oh yeah, God, that's the issue.
And that's what I'm saying. The hand is forced. The hand is forced.
I'd go like a midfielder, Palhinha, Bentancur, and Bergvall. I'd sit Xavi Simons out of this game, maybe, or maybe play him on the left, depending. And then maybe you go Kolo Muani, Kudus, maybe Brendan Johnson on the left, because I think what you see is Chelsea going to have a lot of the ball. Maybe that is a counter-attacking game, so maybe that's the play. Because I think Xavi's not really a counter-attacking style of player. On the left, I'd say you want him in the middle, but I think we need to have the defensive nous of those two, Palhinha and Bentancur respectively, and then the legs of Bergvall to break it up, and then I'd be happy with that lineup.
It just, like he says, it just needs the legs alongside it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Overall, a week in the life of Spurs fan, a win away at Everton, a loss at St James's Park. We're out of the cup. To be fair, with Newcastle, Arsenal, etc., still all in it, it's going to be a tough cup to win. Manchester City as well, go through to the next round. It's going to be a very difficult. It's looking like it's probably, if it goes the way that we think we're favourites, Arsenal, Newcastle, Chelsea, and Man City quarterfinal.
Yeah, I mean, I said that last year. It was easier to win the Europa League than it was Carabao Cup last year. 100%. Like the run we went on in the 100%. Carabao Cup was tricky, and
why do we always get like Man City at home, Newcastle away? Give me like Rochdale. Like where's those? Why don't we get that one?
We never do. That's City, isn't it? City have got that one, or
City
Chelsea
really do.
They love an easy draw.
But yeah, I just think people who are panicking about the way we were playing, we have to take into account. These are the same people that were back in Ange and going, he's got no defence. Well, he's got no forward line. He's got no proven forward line so far. And I thought yesterday was the first time in probably since Burnley, mate. Since the Burnley game that I've seen us get between the lines, break quickly, and look threatening on that break. Yeah. And I think, if we can utilise that and build a bit of confidence into Xavi and the forward line, then we might see the goals come. But I do think that on Saturday at home, if we sit in deep against Chelsea too much, it will definitely work in their favour.
Yeah, because they've got the talent to pick us off and turn us over. I mean, they're not in the best of states, are they? You look against Sunderland, they lost at home, so they are there for the pickings. It just, again, I mean, Maresca, like a few managers at the moment, they're all overthinking their tactics and calling out other teams changing. It's like, well, that's football. That's football management. That's your job. Sound like Roy Keane there. So,
it's your job. Do your job. Come on.
It's your job. So,
it's your job.
It's going to be
Santa Claus getting props up doing presents. It's Christmas. It's your job.
I want a present. I want 3 points. That's what I want.
I want a present. He's there. And hopefully he comes in the summer home. I've made my public apology 9 times now. But do you know what? Just talking about him quickly, he is hitting new levels.
I mean, it's silly. It's silly. We're at this stage now where I've got West Ham fans at talkSPORT next to me. I've got Arsenal fans. You name them. They're all sitting there going, "Oh, he is good, isn't he? Oh, I mean, don't get me wrong. He's got his best goal to game ratio ever." But he's doing things in games now that we were seeing week in, week out. And because he didn't have a silverware in his trophy cabinet, no one gave him the plaudits. And now they are. And sitting there and going, wow, he's a good passer. Wow, he's good at shooting. Wow, he can correct. They're finally realising that this guy is the jewel of the crown of English football and one of the best strikers we've ever seen. So, and it was such a privilege to have him at our club. And I didn't begrudge him leaving for Bayern Munich. But Harry, come back next year, mate, because this is the perfect team for you to be in now. You suffered under Nuno. Come back under Frank, baby. You'll love it.
We do need him indeed. There's plenty of Spurs talk to come, of course. Don't forget to press subscribe. Give us a like and put some comments below as well if you agree or disagree with us. That's the whole point of these conversations. We've also got our own dedicated Spurs YouTube channel on talkSPORT now as well. So make sure that you like and subscribe to that because we're going to keep delivering new content on a regular basis about Spurs. The games come thick and fast, of course, Sonny. Chelsea at home on Saturday and then another Champions League game. Nice to be at home Feels like we've been away for ages.
I know, but that's good, isn't it? We're better away from home.
I know, but hopefully Saturday against Chelsea. I tell you what, if Thomas Frank can get a win against them at home, builds a bit of momentum with the crowd, goes and get a good win against Copenhagen, it sits us really nicely going into I think it's Manchester United as well. We got coming up soon, aren't we, at home?
Yeah, week after, yeah.
Yeah, so lots of big games coming up, lots of must-win games as well. The Copenhagen being the one, as you mentioned already, false positions in that Champions League table, because if we can go and beat Copenhagen in the week, I think it's like Dortmund are playing maybe Liverpool or someone, or they're basically teams that are above us all playing each other, so they're going to be dropping points. So that gives us a beautiful way to get 3 points and boost up the table. And when you look at that afterwards, you'll be thinking, oh, if we can get a result, listen, a draw or a win against Chelsea, just don't lose. As long as we don't lose to Chelsea, that result and a win against Copenhagen, that's a good week for Spurs, in my opinion. And I think you then look at that Champions League table, see where we are there, and then you go, look, Thomas Frank's first season, we're this far in, we're here. And that is how we keep going from game to game, and that's the way to do things. It's interesting that he was asked, do we think we're title contenders? Straight away, no. Like, he knows. Yeah. You know, like, we're watching these games frustrated at our forward line. He knows. Justin Cochrane knows, and looking at those boys going, they're not good enough. They're not going to take us to the next level. So no doubt, you know, the conversations are going on, hopefully with the likes of Ivan Toney or Harry Kane to come back. Even they're looking at the current Brentford striker, aren't they? But apparently the eyes are on him because he's having a decent season. Funny, Brentford lose their manager, think it's going to go all wrong for them. They're through.
Set pieces, isn't it? That's why.
Set piece things. Sonny, of course, where can they find your channel if they want to come check out some of those rants you've had on Richarlison?
Yeah, so Sonny Talk Spurs on YouTube. It should be collabed on this, so just click that. I did a video the other day, actually, Madge, about, you know, a lot has gone on at Spurs the last couple of months with Levy leaving and, you know, both the new directors of football and the £100 million cash injection. So I've had to talk about that and what it means for Spurs' future. So if anyone wants to go and check that out, that was my upload the other day. So worth a little watch on that. Very
interesting. I'll check that out when I'm on the way up to talkSPORT tomorrow. Thank you very much for your time, Sonny. Don't forget, this is Inside Spurs, brought to you by our friends at talkSPORT Bet. Make sure you like, subscribe to the channel. Listen, this is what being a Spurs fan's all about. It's a roller coaster of emotions, but we love the team. In the words of the great Paul Coit, get behind the team and up the Spurs.
Up the Spurs.